Thank you, Senator. Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Ms. Pacheco, if I could just start with you. Your organization, the Dream.us, you provide support for undocumented young people for college and career success. Is that broadly right? Am I getting it right?
That's correct.
And among the things you do is you provide scholarships to these undocumented students. Have I got that correct?
That's right.
And so college scholarships, just to be clear.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Can you tell me, maybe you know the answer to this, maybe you don't, any of the students, do you know if any of the students to whom your organization has provided a college scholarship are currently part of the encampments on any of these college campuses? Like the picture you see behind me, I'm sure we've all seen these videos.
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. If you love this country, if you believe in law and order, and if you're sick and tired of seeing our values trampled on by radical activists and weak politicians, you're in the right place. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we're not backing down. Today, I want to talk about something that should outrage every single American, something I just watched in the United States Senate. Senator Josh Hawley, standing up for American values, grilled a so-called witness from the Dream.us, an organization that hands out scholarships to illegal aliens so they can attend our colleges, all while hardworking American families struggle to send their own kids to school. Let me break down what happened and give you my honest reaction, because what I saw is yet another example of how far we've fallen and why we need to fight back.
No, Senator.
Nobody to whom you provide scholarships are part of the encampments?
I do not know.
Oh, you don't know. What about, do you know if any of the students to whom you provided scholarships have physically threatened Jewish students on campus?
I do not know.
Here's why I'm asking. NBC News just reported, and I'm just going to quote now from the article, quote, this is Columbia University, a Columbia undergraduate who provided only her initials because she is an undocumented immigrant and fears deportation, said last week she spent hours a day in the encampment. This would be the illegal encampment that's in violation of the law as well as campus policy. Spent hours a day in the encampment, I'm quoting still now, before university officials threatened to suspend those students. The article goes on, she joined, this student, joined a supplies platoon that's a subgroup formed by pro-Palestinian campus organizers, end quote. Let me just review some of the things that these students, these in the encampments that is, are saying. And of course, we often don't know who these students are. They're concealing their identities. This is, I'm going to read to you now, and I just warn folks, this is not pleasant stuff, but these are the facts, and we have to tell the truth. This is just from last night at George Washington University. That's here in this town. They projected, the students in the encampment there projected onto various buildings images of the United States flag being burned with the graphics, "Gaza lights the spark that will set the empire ablaze." They projected the following: "Long live the student intifada. Down with the settler state." That would be the state of Israel, I suppose. "Glory to the martyrs of Palestine." It's a jihadist slogan. "Stained with the blood of 44,000 Palestinians." That's last night at GW. Also at GW, they're now calling for beheading, the student encampment, beheading of individuals who support the state of Israel, including holding a people's tribunal where they're putting on trial, quote unquote, various members of their own board of trustees and calling for a guillotine. Here's Columbia University students on April the 20th, 2024. This is all public record. I'm reading this now. This is on, I guess it's X. Columbia University students yelling at Jewish students, and I quote, "Never forget October 7th. It will not happen, it will happen, not one more time, not 5 more times, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but 10,000 times. The 7th of October is going to be every day for you." The 7th of October, this is to Jewish students, is going to be every day for you, end quote. I guess my question is, Ms. Pacheco, and for anybody else on the panel too, shouldn't we be deporting these students? If we have undocumented students who are here unlawfully in the country who are violating the law, let's just be clear here now. this is a violation of the law, and if they're also deliberately inciting persecution of a person on account of their race, which surely calling for the murder of Jews does that, shouldn't we be deporting them? Does anybody think we shouldn't be? Shouldn't we be deporting these students who are here unlawfully? Ms. Pacheco?
Senator, we expect a lot from our scholars, and the scholars and the students that I know love this country, respect this country, and want to and enrich not only the campuses, but also this country.
That's fantastic, and I hope and bet that none of the people that you sponsor are part of this. And I certainly hope that's the case. But I just wondered, is there anybody on the panel who thinks that we should not deport students who are here unlawfully, who are engaging in this activity, who are calling for the death of Jewish students, who are violating the laws of the United States? I mean, shouldn't we be deporting these people? Does anybody want to defend it and say, no, we shouldn't? They should absolutely be here. I think it's indefensible. The record reflects there's total silence from the panel. You know, I also think we ought to cancel the student visas, and I've called for this. For those who are here from other countries with a visa, I think if they're part of this, we ought to be canceling their visas. We ought to send a clear message. Actually, Ms. Pacheco, I think it was you in your opening statement put it really beautifully about how part of what we're talking here today represents the character of the country. I think that's very appropriate. And we need to send a message about this activity, not just about the trespassing and the destruction of buildings. That's bad, that's unlawful. But the threats of violence, and in some cases the outright acts of violence against Jewish students, we should send a moral message that if you do that and you are here unlawfully, you should be deported. If you are here on a student visa, you ought to have your visa canceled. This is the United States of America, and we are not going to stand for it. And I would just hope we could speak with one moral voice on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hawley starts off by laying out some basic facts. He asks Mr. P.C.O., that's the guy running the Dream.us, if they provide scholarships to undocumented students. And the answer is yes. Just so we're clear, these are people who broke our laws, came here illegally, and instead of being held accountable, they're being rewarded with scholarships funded by donors, many of whom are probably patting themselves on the back for their compassion. But here's where it gets really disturbing. Senator Hawley asks Mr. P.C.O. if any of these scholarship recipients are involved in the radical, lawless encampments we're seeing on college campuses across the country. You know the ones where so-called students are screaming pro-Hamas slogans, chanting for intifada, and threatening Jewish students. These aren't peaceful protests, they're hate mobs. They're breaking the law. And guess what? Mr. P.C.O. has no idea if his scholars are involved. He just shrugs. I don't know. Let's pause for a second. If you're running an organization that's putting illegal immigrants on our campuses, don't you have a responsibility to make sure they're not out there breaking the law, threatening violence, or terrorizing Jewish students? Apparently not. Then, Senator Hawley reads from an NBC News article, an undocumented student at Columbia University, admitting she spends hours a day in the encampment. She's afraid of deportation, she says. Well, maybe she should be. If you're here illegally and you're breaking the law, sorry, but you don't get a free pass. It gets worse. The senator describes what's happening at George Washington University. These radicals are projecting images of the American flag burning. Let me say that again, burning our flag, with slogans like Gaza lights the spark that will set the empire ablaze. They're calling for long live the student intifada, down with the settler state. You know what that means? That's a call for violence against Israel and Jews. That's not free speech. That's hate. And if that's not enough, they're calling for beheadings and putting university trustees on trial. This is straight out of a communist revolution playbook. The left, the media, the university administrators, they're all silent. They're all afraid to stand up and say enough is enough. Then at Columbia, these protesters are screaming at Jewish students. October 7th is going to be every day for you. That's a direct reference to the Hamas terrorist attack that murdered over 1,000 innocent Israelis. And they're threatening to do it again and again. Folks, this isn't protest. This is terrorism, plain and simple. Senator Hawley does what every American wants to see. He demands answers. He asks, Shouldn't we be deporting these illegal aliens who are inciting violence, breaking the law, and threatening Jewish students? Shouldn't we cancel the visas of foreign students who are part of these hate mobs? And the panel? Silence. Not a single person is willing to defend these radical students. Not a single person says, no, they should stay. They know it's indefensible. Let me be clear. If you come to this country illegally and you break our laws, especially if you threaten another American based on their religion, you have no right to be here. Period. End of story. Our laws mean something. Our citizenship means something, and our safety means everything. This is not about shutting down free speech. This is about enforcing the law and protecting Americans from hate and violence. If you're here on a student visa and you join a violent mob, your visa is gone. Pack your bags. If you're here illegally and you're inciting violence, you should be deported today. Enough of this weakness. Enough of these universities coddling radicals and turning a blind eye. Enough of the media pretending this is free speech. It's not. It's hate, it's violence, and it's a threat to everything we hold dear. I want to thank Senator Hawley for having the backbone to say what every patriotic American is thinking. We need more leaders like him who put the safety and values of the American people first, not the feelings of radical protesters or illegal immigrants. If you agree with me, if you believe in law and order, if you believe in protecting our country, share this video. Call your senators. Demand accountability from these universities. And let's remind the world, this is the United States of America. We don't stand for hate. We don't stand for violence. And we will defend our nation, our flag, and our people. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. God bless our troops. And God bless the United States of America.